What's up, entrepreneurs? Welcome to the Fruition Factor Podcast. I am Lamika. I am your host. And this week, on my YouTube channel, I talk about entrepreneurship. I talk about money, marketing, and mindset. And today we're going to get into this mindset because being an entrepreneur, baby, it's hard out here in these streets. Okay. So this week, my guest is Latrice McNeal. And I am going to let her, and we were just talking off camera, and we were talking about how long I've known her. And so I want her to tell you guys who she are, what she does, and we're going to get into this entrepreneur roller coaster, and hopefully she's going to get me together. Welcome, Latrice. How are you doing?
I'm good. I don't know about all that. I don't know if I can get you together that quick. Well, my
You're
name's
right.
Latrice McNeal. I am a licensed professional counselor. So what that means is I'm a licensed psychotherapist at the master's level. I have been in the field of mental health since 2006. So, so for a good amount of time now, I can't do the mental math, so you all can do that. I have a private practice in the Dallas area, where my specialties include stress management, anxiety, and burnout for different demographics, but I really target high achieving women. So I naturally end up attracting a lot of entrepreneurs and leaders because of who I target.
Absolutely. See, this is you're right on time. This is perfect. When I was looking for, because I've been like, I have got to have this conversation with somebody because so many, obviously me being an entrepreneur, because we met in an entrepreneurial setting,
That's
um,
true. Yeah.
12 plus years ago. And so a lot of times, the one thing is people say, how do you manage it all? How do you get it done? And I thought to myself, I really don't think about it. I don't know.
Mm,
Obviously, I have highs and lows. Um, and I take naps. Sometimes them naps don't work.
okay.
So, but that's what I tell people. So I guess when working with entrepreneurs and high achieving individuals, like what is it that how do you help them through it? Like what is it, some things that people can be doing, or that kind of thing?
That's a big question, because I think everybody's situation is unique to them. I think the first thing, of course, is awareness. One thing I think that was beneficial about COVID and the pandemic was that it really brought mental health to the forefront for a lot of people and just raised our awareness. So being aware that mental health is not something only to address in the midst of a crisis. If
Mm-hmm.
you have a brain, you need to address your mental health. So just like we go to the doctor for a checkup, one service that I actually offer, and I think probably most counselors are willing to do that people may not be aware of, is you can just kind of schedule a general screening. There doesn't have to be something in particular wrong, but that's what most people think. I
Mm-hmm.
have to have some big identified problem. So if you're noticing some ups and downs, maybe a shift in your mood, but you're not really sure this is something major, schedule schedule an appointment and,
Mm-hmm.
and, and see. Most of us are in this because we like helping people, and we'll be honest with you and let you know this is what I'm seeing, or no, this isn't something, maybe major, but here's some things maybe you can do, and able to give you more direct feedback
Mm-hmm.
to help your specific situation. So I don't know if that's exactly answering your question, but I think
No.
the first thing is awareness, because once you have awareness, then you can know where to develop your skill set.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to improve my coping skills? Do I need to work on self-care? And I have to say, self-care is a big one for the people I work with. Most of my clients are juggling a lot of things, maybe a job along with their business, along with their families or social obligations, and they tend to put everything else first and themselves on the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
So along with awareness, one thing you can start doing right now, even if you don't feel like something is particularly wrong or you're stressed, is to have some type of routine self-care plan, because we all need that. And entrepreneurs, I have to say, even more so, because there's often so much weight you're carrying.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. No, you absolutely answered the question, because I think when it comes to therapy, people think they need to have, that there needs to be something wrong versus
Mm-hmm.
versus a preventative type of a situation. So no, that answered the question perfectly. And that's why I tell people all the time, I have to take a nap because I do work a full-time job. And
Oh,
I have,
okay. Yeah.
other responsibilities. And I think, one of the things for me as an entrepreneur, being an entrepreneur, because I've had Height Goddess since you and I met.
Yes, I was just thinking, I'm like, you have stuff with it. I love it.
Listen, that is, Height Goddess is such a mental burden on me that I have to like,
Mm,
girl,
okay.
why don't you just let Height Goddess go? But for whatever reason, I haven't. I've said, okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's put it on pause. Let's go and come back to it. And so I get, the burden of an entrepreneur, and you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
figure things out. And you're, a lot of times, and I tell people all the time, I don't know what I'm doing because specifically with Height Goddess, I don't know how to sew. I don't know anything. I mean, I still don't know how to sew, but I know about manufacturing
Okay.
more than I did when I started.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times you're figuring it out, and entrepreneurship is very romanticized, and people think
Ooh,
it's
wee. I'm sorry, that's a word.
yeah. So, so that's the thing. So when you tell people, "Oh,
Yeah,
this is what I have," then they go, "Oh," and I'm like, "It's not what you think."
it's
And so
not
then that
sexy.
at all. So those are the things I'm like, okay, so having that conversation with someone who's not an entrepreneur, they think everything is just roses. So that
Mm,
becomes another part of that burden. So like especially a lot of people aren't surrounded by entrepreneurs. So they feel very isolated. This is what I've had people tell me, is they're not surrounded
okay.
by entrepreneurs. Um and so it's challenging to get over the hump of certain, of certain obstacles that may get in the way.
Mm, mm-hmm.
So, I guess how do you suggest people maneuver with it? I guess that kind of goes back to the other answer, but that's another big part of it is when you're not surrounded by other entrepreneurs, what do you do type of a situation?
Okay. Yeah, counseling definitely can help. That could be one. And I'm a therapist. I'd say I don't necessarily think everybody needs therapy for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And as a licensed professional counselor, we work on a continuum. So everything from prevention all the way up to therapy. So therapy has really been pushed and I think is good, but sometimes you may want to do certain things on your own. So I don't want
Mm-hmm.
people to feel like I'm pushing it on you, but it definitely can be helpful to address things more one-on-one, that you may really want to dig into, that sometimes you can't necessarily go to friends or family with because they
Mm-hmm.
really just may not get it.
Mm-hmm.
So it really can help with that piece. Now, I think all entrepreneurs need some type of community, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really important, whether it be like a mastermind or accountability group. You need to be connected with other entrepreneurs because it
Mm-hmm.
can be a very isolating experience. And that
Yes.
can add to some of the things that I see people presenting with.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I do see entrepreneurs dealing with depression, dealing with anxiety, and feeling like other people don't get it and not having a space to communicate that can just kind of add to that and contribute to it.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're not necessarily alone, people in relationship, their partners coming home from a job and venting, they still may not quite get you sharing about this thing that you birthed, your
Mm-hmm.
business. It's a different experience.
Yes. I think, and that has been my experience with Height Goddess, because obviously I have another business that it doesn't present any of the issues that Height Goddess presents.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually great. I don't have any of the headaches, which is why I actually chose that business. So I buy mobile homes, and it's back to my quote unquote real
Oh,
estate
yeah, I watched your
background.
podcast on that. That was very
Yeah.
interesting. Mm-hmm.
So that business, smooth sailing. It's all good.
Okay.
It's good, but but it goes back to High Goddess. I birthed that from. I mean, every
Mm,
piece of that
mm-hmm.
is something that I came up with. So so that is the struggle, and so that's why I go back to, because when people say, "Lamika, you're so like direct and straightforward," I'm like, just go take a nap, just go for a walk, like especially coming from an athletic background. That has always been like, okay, I'm like, well, have you worked out? Because those are things like, what kind of food are you eating? Like, because
Mm-hmm.
those are important, especially as entrepreneurs. We may be up late working, and we're not
Mm,
eating, the best
mm-hmm.
things. And so I'm like, okay, well, think about like what you had eaten before, you felt that kind of way. And not to say that it's going to remove the way that you felt, but I feel like it does play a role in the roller coaster that sometimes we can get on as entrepreneurs. And so, the people like, let me get them tips don't work for me. So that's why I was like, I got to have somebody else that's got some study tips
Well,
on
and that's
what
why
to
I
do.
brought up the self-care piece. A lot of entrepreneurs, leaders, that I work with really have, I hate to just horrible self-care. And so we can't always control the situation,
Mm-hmm.
but we can control or regulate how we navigate it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a self-care routine, I find that it helps us navigate things
Mm-hmm.
better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so to be more specific, to me, self-care is not necessarily a first thing we all think of is go get hair and nails done. That's not
Right.
what I'm talking about.
Right.
I'm talking about your whole being doing things that help you weather those difficulties
Mm-hmm.
better.
Mm-hmm.
The example I like to give is if I go to the bank and I constantly continue to withdraw money out, but I haven't put anything out, eventually it's going to run negative.
Mm-hmm.
And that's often what we do to ourselves. We give out, give out, give out, give out, and we don't take time to deposit anything in. So the goal of self-care is to stop and say, have I deposited anything into my spirit? Have I deposited anything into my physical being to help me function? Have
Mm-hmm.
I deposited anything into my mind that is helping me to function better? Addressing you holistically as a whole being so you can weather those challenges. So, I guess one maybe more specific tip, if people are asking for something specific, I think every entrepreneur needs some type of morning mindset routine. Don't just get up and jump onto the email and start answering calls or scrolling the internet. Have some type of morning mindset routine that grounds you and kind of sets the tone for your day, because how you start the day tends to set the tone for how it's going to go. So if you get up, you're rushed, you're hurried, that's usually how the rest of the day is going to be, just kind of kind of chaotic. So take time basically to deposit into you before you start pouring everything out into your business. And for a lot of us, like with what I do, I am my business. So if I don't do some type of self-care, how can I really show up for my clients that I
Mm-hmm.
serve or for the organizations that if I'm going to do a speaking engagement? I need to be well in order to function my best and represent my business well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like that. That is very helpful, especially when you said therapy may not always be it. That is a lot of what people talk about, but there are so many other things that you can do,
Mm-hmm.
and a big part of that self-care. And that's the reason why I wanted to have this conversation. I have never had a problem with self-care. Okay. I have never had that problem. And so that's why I'm always like, I live by, again, taking naps, and I live by taking me a morning walk I live by
Okay,
taking
that's
me
good.
I take me a walk first thing in the mornings just to, be outside, be in. Now I still got to work on looking at my phone first thing in the morning time, because I have said to myself,
Mm,
okay, put the phone down, don't worry about it, don't go to emails, because I was that person that will get up. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna answer these emails and then I'm gonna go walk so I can clear my mind. Um, but yeah, I've always been big on self-care even before I knew the term
okay.
self-care.
Yeah.
And that's why I always like to tell people, that's why, even when I got well into my corporate career, working out was still a big part of it, because, coming from being college athlete, you work out, and then you get into that corporate world, and then you lose the routine of what you used to do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so working out has always been a part of my routine, regardless, which is why I have this hair like this, so I don't have to worry about doing my hair. you know so i
Yeah.
can i can make sure I can go and get a workout in, I can come back and I can start working and making my life easier, because for me that was a part of my self-care, in order for me to still be able to work out, because there was a point where I had natural hair, it was pressed, and I wouldn't go work out because I'm like, oh, my hair is going to get messed up. and then
Mm-hmm.
and then I slowly saw the shift in my mental, and the only thing I could tie it back to was, oh, Lamika, you stopped working
Mm-hmm.
out. So that a lot of times I hear people say, oh, Lamika, my life isn't set up the way your life is set up. So taking that time out for someone that has young kids, or somebody that has a lot of responsibilities and taking care of other people, um you what is a way for them to deposit into themselves, that's something that's quick, that doesn't have to be big, or that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I can be really direct with my clients, is I think we have to find the time,
Mm-hmm.
because the reality is, especially when you have a lot to do, or you are, kind of like the backbone of the family, which a lot of women are, if you fall apart, hey, the whole thing is going to fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to kind of make it a non-negotiable. What I find is usually we're not making it non-negotiable. We
Mm-hmm.
see it as optional
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
take care of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it's 10 to 15 minutes, do what you can do. Maybe you used to I used to be able to go work out, for an hour, hour and a half, leisurely, before having children. I can't do that now. So it's okay, I have this block of time. I could do my 20-minute walk, and that's what I can get done. And that is what my workout will look like for today.
Right.
But that 20 minutes is better than zero.
Mm-hmm.
Or I have people tell me, oh, I don't have time to meditate. I hear that one all the time. You can spend 2 to 5 minutes and it still be effective. You don't have to
Mm-hmm.
sit with your legs crossed,
Mm-hmm.
for an hour in silence.
Mm-hmm.
I think, we try to find ways. I think our brains a lot of times are wired that way. We will find ways or reasons that we can't,
Mm-hmm.
instead of finding, okay, well, how can I? So sometimes it's challenging that own inner voice. I think the other side of that, though, especially with entrepreneurs, uh, a lot of us tend to be perfectionists and high
Mm-hmm.
achievers. And so it can kind of lend to, well, if I can't go hard at it, if I can't do it this way or that way, then I won't do it at all.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be a mindset that can keep you stuck in
Mm-hmm.
some areas.
Mm-hmm.
So you may not be able to go all in and do what you would prefer to do, but it is better to do something that is
Yeah.
benefiting your mental well-being.
Yeah. That is very true, because I noticed that about in my mobile home business, for me to make a video is no big deal. I'm like, oh, just make this video. But with Height
Mm-hmm.
Goddess, I will overthink everything. It has to be
Mm.
perfect. It has
Mm-hmm.
to be, and I think back to, my, 2000, probably 12, 13, even further back than that, when I was doing Height Goddess, like all of I don't have even my Height Goddess podcast. I don't have, well, I have video of it, but neither person looked the way they supposed to. So we never used the video. We only use the audio piece of it. But even in that part, in me recording, because I started that podcast in 2000. 16, I feel like. No, way before that. Way before that. I started that podcast, but because my background wasn't perfect and all those things, I only recorded the
Mm,
audio piece of it.
okay.
And so now I'm like, Lamika, why did you not have the video component to that podcast? So I completely get it. I wanted perfection. But that is only for me, that is only when it comes to Height Goddess, and everything else. I'm just like, oh, just
Well,
do
that's
it. Like it's not a
interesting.
big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it doesn't matter. But I think it goes back to what you said. That particular business is something that I birthed from ground up, from choosing the name to creating the designs to, how I go to market. So I've
Mm,
looked at it differently. But now that I've decided, okay, I want to make some adjustments in how I do the business. I don't feel as much of that stress anymore. And so now
okay.
it has become much more relaxed for me, because I've done basically what you said. I let go of some of the perfection that I felt like
Mm,
I needed to
mm-hmm.
have, that I needed to have in that business. I think those are some very tangible tips, because I am the type of person that says, okay, if you say that you want to do this, okay, let's figure out how to do it. But if you keep coming at me with obstacles of why it won't work, then I just kind of like, okay, well, do you really want to make this work? So that goes back to what you were saying, is that it's a non-negotiable. It's not something that is optional for us to do. We have to make sure to continue that it's something set that we do
Mm-hmm.
not every day, or when we find a time, or we make, just like we take a lunch or we eat or we whatever, making sure we have that self-care time.
Yeah, I think it is daily. I think we misunderstand what it is. It doesn't have to be an hour at the spa, but you're
Right.
doing
Yeah.
something needs to be done towards your self-care,
For sure. For sure. And like
on
even
a daily basis.
I figured out my latest workout craze is Hot Works. And
I haven't tried that yet. They
oh my
opening one by my
God,
house.
I love it.
Okay.
I love it
See,
so
you're gonna have me
much.
spending money.
Listen, listen. I love it so much that I'm trying to add it to my plate in a franchise, but that's a whole nother situation. Just
Okay.
so I love Hot Works. And what I love about Hot Works is they have several different classes, but you can go at any time, you can schedule it, and they have several 15-minute classes. So
Oh,
I can
okay.
go and get my workout in 15 minutes, or if I decide I want to do two 15-minute classes, I can do a 30-minute class and I'm done. I've gotten my workout for the day. But there are
Mm-hmm.
some days where I just go in there and be like, you know what? I just need to sit in the sauna. I'm not, I'm just going to sit here on this
Mm-hmm.
bike. I'm just going to sit here in here for these 15 minutes, and I am just going to not do anything but just sit here. So there are some days that I have that. So I really like, um, obviously over the years, I've had to make adjustments to the type of workouts, but it goes
Mm-hmm.
like, if you're willing to figure out how to make it work, there are options out there, to be able to get it
And
done. So
make
I
it
do like that.
doable.
Yeah.
Like I have a little stepper in my office.
Mhm.
I don't want to give myself any excuses. And not just with the working out, whatever it is.
Mhm.
If you're wanting to do daily affirmations, put them on your phone. You take your phone with you everywhere you
Mhm.
go. Remove
Mhm.
any obstacle to it. But you
Mhm.
pointed out people who only see the obstacles. When you notice that, or you naturally kind of are always shifting to the negative. If the perfectionism is keeping you stuck where it's hard for you to take action, those are the types of situations where sometimes it is helpful to bring in, a professional to kind of, because sometimes we don't really have the self-awareness or insight enough to identify exactly what we need to be able to fix. We know
Mhm.
something's wrong,
Mhm.
but we're not always sure how to fix it. I sometimes will say it's hard to, fix a picture if you're in the frame,
Mhm.
of it. But somebody on the outside looking in can say, oh, tweak that and tweak that. So when you feel like I keep trying, but I'm still just kind of doing like this with whatever it is, that's when it can really be helpful for somebody else to step in and say, oh yeah, you kind of need to adjust this or that. Or at times it's going all the way back. For some of us, our own trauma, our own childhood experiences, different things that have happened in our lives are showing up in our businesses also, and how we run them.
That makes total sense. Yes, I was talking to I had an accountant on and we were talking about the numbers and she touched on the fact of mindset. You know, what is your mindset around money? How did you what was money when you were growing up? How did you see your parents pay bills and how it shows up in the numbers of your business? So I completely get that part. I completely get that. So you have given some good tips. Like I'm like, okay, I ain't too far off the track. Oh, my roller coaster may not be as fast and as highs and lows as I think it is. But in that moment, you be like, Lord have
I
mercy.
think because you embrace that it's a roller coaster. People sometimes I think expect it to be like this, or like this. And I'm like, no,
No,
that's not how it goes.
it's not how it
But when
goes.
that's the expectation and that's not what happens, you're all thrown off. So that's probably part of what helps you. Your expectation is that it is going to be some highs and some lows.
Yes, yes. And baby, I said, "Ooh, let me just hold on tight today because I don't know how far we gonna dip." But yeah, that's good. Um, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. You have definitely
But
given
you're holding
tangible tips,
on.
but
I
I'm holding
think that's
on.
the key. But you're holding on.
I'm trying. I'm holding on. And that's what I said. I love the fact that you are very direct. You have given some very tangible tips. So for someone that is looking in the DFW area, I'm assuming you work with women or individuals in the DFW area. For someone that may be looking to work with a coach for high achieving women, entrepreneurs, tell them again how they can find your information.
Oh, my site, and I work for counseling-based services. I can work in the entire state of Texas, unless you wanted to come in person. I do virtual and in office. For coaching services, I work nationwide. And my website is McNeal, McNeal, wellness.com. I'm also on Instagram and LinkedIn as Latrice McNeal. You can find me on there. And on my website, there's a quick form to fill out. And usually you'll receive a response within 2 business days, letting you know kind of next steps, either to schedule a consultation or sometimes if I'm very direct, again, if there's something I really know I cannot help you with, I'll provide referrals because there are other people in the area who may be gifted at what it is you're needing help with, and it may not be me. And if it's somebody outside of me, one wonderful there's directories out there, and you can do a consultation with a couple of different providers, even, and try to find somebody who you feel like is a good fit for you.
Okay. I love that. I love that. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
you are definitely a great resource. So definitely check out Latrice and I'll make sure that I have your information in the show notes. Before I close this out, is there any other tip that you want to give somebody on this entrepreneur roller coaster?
I would say one thing that has really helped me, I call it my 2 W's. I like to frequently rehearse my why and my wins. My why meaning why I got into this in the first place, and only you know that for yourself. And over time, maybe the why even shifts. And I like to keep that in front of me. You can't see it here, but I have like my vision board right behind me with, my statements, my images, because keeping that in front of you can help to keep you encouraged when times get hard, when you can reflect back on your why. And by wins, I mean, no matter how small they are, there's probably something that's going well in your business experience, whether it's you got all your paperwork done that day, or you reached out to 3 companies to pitch your services. Track your wins so that when you get into those darker moments, you can go back and reflect on them intentionally to kind of help give you that boost you need. Usually we will find that thing that's going wrong and kind of turn it over and over and over and over and over in our mind.
Mhm.
So when you rehearse your wins, that will kind of reset your minds for, okay, I can do this. I've had some wins. I can have another one, as opposed to, we can then start to beat ourselves up about what's not going well in
Mhm.
our business.
Yeah, that is really good. I am a big believer in vision boards and I have them everywhere. I got them on my iPad. I have it saved on my iPad, on my phone, in front of me, because I always need to be reminded of that helps me remind me of my why and my win. So
Mm-hmm.
that's good. See, I knew this conversation was going to be helpful, especially for me. I did this for me, y'all. I didn't do this for
Oh.
y'all. I did this for me. Okay. I did this for me. So, yes, Latrice, I so appreciate you saying yes. This is one of my
Thank you
wins.
for reaching out.
Yes, yes, having you on is one of my wins. So I am so thankful for you coming on and you saying yes and sharing this information. Guys, I hope this information has been really helpful for you as an entrepreneur. And the information for Latrice will be in the show notes. And until I bring you another dope female entrepreneur in general, I will see you guys on the next one. Until next time, peace.